Tonight, only on Fox, Organ Stop Pizza is a staple here in the Valley, and the man behind the pipes has been entertaining families for decades.
But lead organist Lou Williams is getting ready to retire. Fox 10's Danielle Miller and photojournalist Eric Corrales caught up with him to find out the secret to his success and why he says it's time to call it a career.
First time, awesome.
People who come here for the first time are just amazed.
It's the music, and the food is really good too.
I really had no idea what to expect. I was just hanging on for dear life and hoping it would keep going, and lo and behold, it has.
It definitely has. For a few decades now, 42 years to be exact, Lou Williams has been entertaining families as they enjoy each other's company, a hot slice of pizza, and of course, their favorite tunes coming from the 82 piped organ. It was March 1979. Lou was just 25 years old. He was offered the job at Organ Stop Pizza. He took it and moved across the country.
At that time, I alternated between the Phoenix Organ Stop, which was at 7th Street in Missouri, and the Mesa Organ Stop, which was at that time right at the Canal Bank across from Friendship Village.
That job offer quickly turned into a long-lasting career, a career Lou says he's ready to retire from.
I feel that everything has a lifespan, everything has a productive time length, and things only last so long. People have lifespans, buildings have lifespans, jobs have lifespans, and after coming up on 40 plus years of doing it, I began to feel that it was time to step back and to have somebody younger step in, continue on with younger ideas, and take control.
Although Lou has decided to say goodbye to his 9-to-5, he says he'll never stop playing the organ. It's a love that won't go away, a love that started when he was just a young boy.
In those days, I'd get on my bicycle and go down to the appliance stores because they had these little amplified reed organs that were about like that, and you could just turn them on and play them. And I used to go in there, and I finally told my parents, you know, get one of these for your damn kid, get him out of the store. And so I got one of those when I was 10 years old at Christmas, and I started piano at 15, and then I went through 2 college degrees and some postgraduate study at the Conservatory of Geneva, Switzerland.
When asked what he'll miss the most, Lou's answer, the people.
I think I'll miss the reactions of the people. You know, when you have a really good crowd and they're with you and you're playing to them and they're responding to you, and there's a very direct line of communication right there. That is something that you really don't get anyplace else.
The people say the feeling is mutual, but the show must go on.
I'm really going to miss him.
For all of the Lou fans, don't be too heartbroken. He's not saying goodbye forever. He will be filling in as needed. Danielle Miller, Fox 10 News.
That was a heck of a story. Lou, we wish you well. He wove in Queen, Star Wars, all kinds of stuff.
I mean, my jaw is on the floor.
That is really cool.
That was so moving. I want to go see him.
There ain't no grave can hold my body down.
You know, that the fact that 3,000 people have died out here, it's a secret. Most people have no idea.
Every Tuesday for the past 3 years, Tucson artist Alvaro Enciso has gone with a small group of volunteers to different spots in the Sonoran Desert.
Yeah, we're gonna try.
They bring water and food to drop at spots along the unforgiving terrain. They hope the supplies might help a migrant survive, trying to cross into the country. But Enciso also packs something else, handmade crosses.
In a 2-mile radius from where I'm standing, 11 of the red dots are death sites.
Ron Kovac helps Enciso with the project. The red dots on his GPS across the 20,000 square mile desert are all deaths. 3,000 known, 2,000 missing, and they were all trying to get into the country. Broken down by year.
150, as the metaphor I often use is a commercial airliner.
You guys ready?
The Tucson Samaritans start at the Southside Presbyterian Church in Tucson at 7 a.m., but it's non-secular. An artist, a minister, a nun, an atheist. They all make the trek into the desert. The death sites are in remote locations reachable by dirt roads and through washes, then maybe a hike. Shovels, cement, water, and the cross are all brought to the death site. Sometimes shoes or other clothing from someone lost to the desert can be seen left behind.
I don't know how this person was found, but I'm glad he was found. He or she.
Every handmade cross has a red dot, and every volunteer gets one too.
Every death is shown with a red dot on the map. So what I'm doing, I'm taking the red dot, which is an abstraction of the map, and bringing it down here where it really happened. Do we have a name?
Identified skeletal remains found August 6, 2016.
It probably sounds silly to some, a marked grave that will more than likely never be seen by anyone. But the Tucson Samaritans all believe that, regardless of politics, it's the right thing to do.
The American dream is failing to a whole bunch of people here, that we seem to be closing the gate for our neighbors south of the border. Eventually, when the historians begin to write this chapter of American history, it's going to be very sad, it's going to be very shameful that we didn't take care of our neighbors, that we let them die out here. People in their 20s and 30s, and people that shouldn't be dying at that age.
About 4 crosses are put up every week. Reliable SUVs get the groups where they need to go. The vehicles have a valley connection.
It's a wonderful irony. I guess there was a newspaper that I don't know of, a nonprofit in Phoenix or Maricopa County, that was suing Joe Arpaio for whatever reason. Pick one.
A settlement with Arpaio led to the creation of a foundation that supplied grant money to the Samaritans. And now the SUVs have the former sheriff's namesake.
So I'll introduce to you Joe and Josephine. Thanks, Joel Arpaio. Andrea, it's a woman. Andrea Antonia Moran Aviles.
The death data comes from the coroner, and not everyone has a name, but some do. They all still get a marked grave.
Hypothermia.
The causes of death run the gamut of ailments contracted in the desert: dehydration, heat stroke, and hypothermia in the cold at night during the winter.
Some of these people that are coming over perhaps never have been to a doctor in their lives.
Creator God, you alone know the story.
The volunteers say a few words at each grave.
So we ask for comfort for her family and friends, perhaps for her parents, perhaps for her children.
And it's on to the next one. For many, it's about still trying to give people the shot at the American dream, illegal or legal. But the harsh desert makes no promises, and that's why more than 500 crosses dot the area so far.
Comfort those
the group hopes to put one at all 3,000 locations.
Never have known what happened to their mother.
What do you think about people who are going to say, whatever, let them die?
I can't change their minds. I don't try to.
And I don't see any immediate solution.
Back to the earth.
So we are here for the long run.
As we say thanks for her life. Amen.
Okay. Hi, Jocelyn. It's therapeutic. It's therapeutic for the people. I've been a musician ever since 4th grade. But I learned the heart to do this work. specifically to do this work.
This is a job Jocelyn Obermeyer takes very seriously. The professional harpist not playing in a concert hall or some fancy venue, but here, the Cancer Center at Honor Health in Scottsdale.
It's delightful, just delightful. I love it. I was diagnosed in January with pancreatic cancer.
Terry Bollinger has spent more hours than she cares to remember on this floor, sitting quietly, listening to the harp music as cancer-fighting drugs enter her body.
I went through 6 months of chemotherapy with the clinical trial. I had a PET scan 5 weeks ago, no active cancer. I'm now on maintenance. I'm on oral chemo. It's like, yes. It takes your mind off of everything other than the music, and you can go somewhere else. It's very nice.
In a place like this, from what they tell me, the music helps them reflect. It brings something happy in a time where there's some struggles.
And that's the point. Jocelyn is one of a handful of harpists who work for the Therapeutic Harp Foundation, a nonprofit.
What I do is I bring the harp, and the music brings comfort, reduces pain, reduces anxiety to the people that I work with.
Obermeyer says this is a job she was destined to do.
I used to be a principal of a school, and my parent, volunteer coordinator, got cancer. And a harpist came and played for her when she was in a palliative care unit. And she told me how much it spoke to her. It healed her on the inside, emotionally, spiritually. And she said it was out of everything that happened for her in that journey. When that harp music came, it just put her in a place that nothing else could. And it kept knocking at my heart to learn to play the harp, so I did. And then now this is what I do.
Obermeyer learned to play the harp in just a year and now spends a few hours every week playing for patients.
In a setting such as this, I'm watching a lot of their breathing, and I'm playing my pulse to match their breathing.
Each strum of the string calming nerves and easing pain.
And the music does the speaking. And we observe, and then we let this do that connection. That's exactly what it's about.
Ty Brennan, Fox 10 News.
Okay, I'm the registrar at Mesa Contemporary Arts Museum at Mesa Art Center. Our curators who have selected Cheech Marin collection to come in. The work focuses on a Chicano art. Once the artwork has been selected, I take over. It's like Christmas. I have to be very careful with how I am unpacking it. Turn it like this. This one looks really good. I don't see any issues. The gloves have to go on.
1, 2, 3, come on.
What's really kind of neat to see with this piece is the fact, I think, the scale of the work, the fact that it was hanging in Cheech's home. This was also in Cheech's home, right in the hallway as you enter the house. And again, I think just the punchy colors, very juicy colors. I believe Cheech used to live in Malibu and was very close, had a home right on the beach. So I think it's very fitting that they did the scenery for this. We do have a sculpture that's going to be going up, and this is by the De La Torre brothers. It's an Aztec calendar that requires some assembly. It's just a matter of figuring out how to put it together. This really is a broad scale of the work that he has been collecting over the past 10 to 12 years.
It's home to some of the most violent people in our society. The predators, the felons. They've committed terrible crimes, and they have to be watched nearly every minute, double-teamed when they move, because they can turn on you in an instant, like this vicious attack, when as many as 30 inmates kicked, punched, pummeled 7 corrections officers in Florence's max security central unit.
Pull that one.
And that's why when Fox 10 photographer Eric Corrales and I became the first news crew to enter this unit in nearly a decade, we were fit with stab vests.
We're worried about your safety first and foremost. On this yard, it's a level 5 yard, so we have not the average criminal here.
We're here to document a day in the life of an Arizona corrections officer, one of the most dangerous jobs in our state.
West side. The first week I was scared. You know, the first time the gates close, you hear the smash behind you, you're like, oh God, I'm in prison.
Our guide is Officer Cody, who's been on the job for 3 years. From what we saw, his day consists mostly of moving inmates, searching inmates, searching their cells, confiscating contraband, and keeping himself out of harm's way, which has to be job one. Because the men housed here can be unpredictable and show no mercy towards each other or corrections officers.
It seems like one of the biggest challenges would be you're dealing with people who don't necessarily think like other people do.
Yeah.
I mean, these men have done some bad things.
Yes, so we know they have short fuses, we know they have anger problems, some even have mental problems.
And they are all housed here in Florence Prison's historic central unit. The prison's gray concrete walls rise high into the air. They're topped with razor wire. And then on top of that, an electric fence that will deliver a fatal shock to any escapee. And inside these walls, the men have nothing but time to think of ways to hurt each other and the officer.
I've seen weapons made out of everything, you know, like tray lids. Out of what? Yeah. Tray lids, paper, cellophane wrap, you know. Over here, man.
And that's why there are random pat-downs like this one throughout the yard. Some inmates are considered so dangerous, they're not allowed to walk free, even behind these concrete walls.
What we're looking at here is a series of 10 by 10 rec cages. These are men who haven't proven themselves trustworthy enough to be out with the general population just yet. So they take this step, and after a certain period of time, they can be with other inmates.
And this is where we get a first-hand look at how quickly the mood of inmates can change. When we first arrive, they try to engage us.
That's that homeboy. 23 years in the business. Yeah. I just seen you last night. Oh, he look bigger on TV. Let him know we're treating you good. Stop killing like that kid. I love her.
But when I asked if one of them wanted to talk with us on camera, the mood quickly turned.
Don't do it. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. All you guys gonna do is go talk.
I'm told if the leader of the group turns, the entire group tends to follow. And that's a real danger here. So it's time to leave this area.
Yeah, I think it's good for us not to stay in one place too long. That's probably the key.
Yeah, they build up fast. You know?
One of those men is named Richard Coffey. He's considered such a risk that before he can leave his cell, he has to strip down. And Officer Cody inspects his unclothed body while he's still behind a locked cell door.
Open your mouth, open your cheeks, all right? Let me see your armpits. All right, go ahead and pull your scrotum up. All right, turn around.
Once he's cleared, Coffey is cuffed. And as with all inmates classified the way he is, 2 officers at a time have to hold his arms as he's escorted to where he needs to go.
What's your interaction like with the corrections officers?
For me, it's fine. I respect them. They respect me as a man. It's just a two-way street. As long as I get that respect back, I get the same respect. Then I don't act crazy. So, act crazy, I stay here longer, which I don't want.
Let me put you over there in the middle of those guys.
Coffey's being brought to a classroom where he's working on changing his violent behavior.
There you go.
He has to graduate from this class before he can be let out of his cell and interact with other prisoners here, out in the main yard.
We'll walk over here.
And as we approach, an inmate barks out a warning to his fellow inmates. The most privileged here in Max get 2.5 hours in the yard, 3 days a week.
You're just looking for one-on-one problems. You know, this guy's talking to this guy. It looks like he's getting violent, and you just keep an eye on them. For the most part, they handle all their own problems.
Being on the yard, I can't help but notice we are vastly outnumbered. But if they wanted to, there could be 50 inmates on top of each of us before backup arrives. The officers in the yard carry only pepper spray and stun guns. The only real protection, the gunmen up in the surrounding towers.
This guy up here is your ultimate backup.
Yes.
When you're on the yard.
He's our eyes, he's our ears, he's everything, really.
When you think about all their challenges, maybe it's not surprising that the Department of Corrections is short on corrections officers. And not dozens of them, hundreds.
Just in this unit alone, the deputy warden advises that he's 60 officers down. Complex-wide, it's more than that, and statewide, it's well over 500.
And the state is hiring. These officers are a vital line of defense between hardened criminals and your loved ones. And now you know what their day is like.